For more than 10 years now, PISA, the world's premier student assessment, has evaluated and compared school systems all around the world. But individual teachers, school leaders, and local administrators often ask me, how do we find out where our school stands in a global context? And what can our school or our local school district learn from the highest performing schools or school systems in other countries? Or simply from schools that are similar to our own? So we decided to develop a tool, a test that would allow schools and school districts to answer those questions. The PISA-based test for schools is based on the global PISA test, but designed to be used locally by individual schools and districts. Like PISA, the test puts considerable emphasis on assessing not just whether students can reproduce what they have learned, but also whether they can extrapolate from what they know and apply their knowledge and skills creatively. And that's because the modern world no longer pays people just for what they know. Google knows everything. But for what they can do with what they know. We also measure students' capacity to analyze, reason, and communicate as they interpret and solve problems in different contexts. We also examine the learning environment and organization of schools so that schools can see how they differ from other schools. So schools can learn not only about how their students perform, but also about what works in other schools and in other countries in order to improve learning outcomes. We developed the test to be directly comparable to the PISA scales that we use to measure performance at the international level. Schools can then use those results to compare themselves not just with other schools in their own country, but also with schools and students in more than 70 other countries and economies. The test was available for the first time to interested high schools in the US during the school year 2013-14. About 280 schools signed up, and some of the results were striking. Even the best performing high schools in the United States have room for improvement in order to reach the performance level of the highest performing schools internationally. And when we look at schools within the US, we see that some schools do better than we would have predicted given the socioeconomic background of the students in the school. But other schools do not yet provide an education that makes the most of all of their students' potential. What I learned from all of this is that teachers, school leaders, and local educators are just as interested in international benchmarking as policymakers are, provided that information comes with tangible insights on how to leverage improvement. And that's exactly what the PISA-based test for schools is about. They know how important it is for their students to be prepared to enter a global economy where they will be competing for the best jobs with young people from all over the world. In a global economy, the benchmark for educational success is no longer improvement by national standards alone, but the best performing education systems internationally.